We're living in an Easter season under lockdown. Seldom has my diocese, the diocese in Europe, been so united in a common cause with the rest of the Anglican Communion. Europe, like the rest of the world, like the developing world, is struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic. The statistics in Europe are shocking. 1.5 million confirmed cases and 145,000 COVID-related deaths. And it's the elderly, the vulnerable, the migrant who are most at risk. Many in the global south worry that the worst is yet to come. What will be the effects of coronavirus on South Asia and Africa? We don't yet fully know how far the virus has spread, but health systems in developing countries are less well equipped to deal with an outbreak. Our diocese is twinned with Luiro in Uganda, and reports from Uganda suggest that the human toll of the lockdown is already evident. Children go without vaccination and crops are not harvested. In the global south, the economic effects could be as harmful as the virus itself. Across the planet, the pandemic generates fear and anxiety. What is to come? How bad will it be? How will we cope? When will it end? When I turn to the Bible, I'm so often surprised and delighted at how my own experience has parallels with the characters in Scripture. And today is no exception. In John chapter 14, our Gospel reading, we meet the disciples in the upper room, just hours before Jesus is arrested, tried and crucified. Of course, in one sense, John is recording a time of victory. The prince of this world is about to be overcome. Jesus is about to be glorified. Yet, the moment of the Saviour's highest triumph is from another aspect, the moment of the disciples' deepest loss. The leader on whom they have utterly depended, whom they've given up their livelihoods to follow, is about to be taken from them. And so they are anxious, fearful, full of unanswerable questions. Jesus' word to the disciples is a word for all time, for all places, and for us today, wherever we are, whatever our circumstances. He says to them, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me." Christ himself knew what it was to have a troubled heart when he wept at the death of his friend Lazarus, when he contemplated betrayal at the hands of Judas, when he anticipated death on a cross. It is this Christ who knows the human condition from the inside, who has tasted the bitterness of a troubled heart. This Christ who exhorts the disciples, believe in God, believe also in me. I love the imagery from our psalm today. In you, O Lord, I seek refuge. Be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. Many or most of us are currently hiding away in our homes, self-isolating, being shielded, as we say. And so it is in the spiritual life. We can know that our inner being is held safe and secure in the arms of God, our refuge and our rock. But the thing about faith is that it grows in strength over time. It's a matter of putting down deep roots and nurturing our faith through study and fellowship and prayer, so that when trouble strikes, we have a secure and dependable spiritual anchor, so that we can say in the words of a 19th century hymn, "On Christ, the solid rock, I stand, all other ground is sinking sand." Usually in life we know the destination, even if we don't know the way. But in spiritual matters, as Thomas in our Bible reading discovered, it can be the other way round. Jesus is the way, but the destination may be unclear. And the journey of faith is made one step at a time. As John Henry Newman put it in a hymn he wrote when his own heart was deeply troubled, "Lead, kindly light, amid the encircling gloom, lead thou me on. The night is dark and I am far from home, lead thou me on. Keep thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distant scene, one step enough for me." Whilst we don't quite know how bad the COVID-19 crisis may become or when it will end, I nonetheless take inspiration from those heroes and heroines who've given their lives in helping to save others from the disease. And have you noticed how in this crisis it is some of the humblest members of society who most inspire our admiration? I think of Gino, the elderly doctor in Italy who came out of retirement to save lives, or of Sonia, the 26-year-old Turkish migrant working night shifts in a care home in North London, or of Suzanne, the Belgian COVID patient who left her ventilator to someone younger than herself, each of whom gave their lives to save others. Faith is a precious gift, and it works itself out in love. Of course, at this time our concerns are most especially for our own families, our nearest and dearest. But this crisis also impels us to think about those who are in the most need, whether locally or globally. I run a Bishop's Appeal each Advent, and last Advent we raised money for the Anglican Communion Fund, because that fund supports the global church. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. May God deepen our trust and faith. May that faith project forwards into a living and confident hope. And may our faith work outwards in loving action towards our families, our neighbours, and to the world. Amen.